Alright, so now it's time to start rebuilding these fertilizer openers. Thought process here is I'm going to try to strip them all down to where it's just the shank. So I got to get this gauge wheel off, the opener off, and as you'll see here in a minute, these either go perfectly, they'll come right apart, or you'll be fighting them all the way. At least that's what I'm told, so for what it's worth. This one, as you can see, we really lucked out. It's got a steel hubcap instead of the plastic one that are normally on these, so that tells me right away that this is an older assembly. I mean, they're the older style anyway. They're what would have come on a John Deere 7200. But at any rate, I got a steel chisel here, hammer. Let's just see what we can do. Gonna work our way around this. It's coming. Bearing is seized. Oh my. So I got some tricks up our sleeve. For this old rusted parts like this. We'll show you those here. Hopefully not on this one. Be kind of nice if we didn't have to break out the big guns right away. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Now, I believe at least I believe those are right on the thread. Maybe not. Alright. Save those. Alright, so now the way these work. Oh, trying not to slice myself open. I don't know if you can see that or not, but this, oh hey, that's free. Well, that's exciting. Anyway, these go through the center hub to this side, which is where you set your depth on these openers. And then there's the center part, which is what the bearing rides on. So there's an axle, I guess you'd call it, that's threaded so it can bolt onto the shank, and it's got a surface that the bearing can ride on, which is inside this hub, and it has an inner, not an inner component, but it's bored out so that this piece can go through it. So there's all sorts of opportunities for fertilizer to get where the sun don't shine and just seize everything all the heck, and then you get to fight it all the way. So, you know. But I will say this, from what I understand, this is the only part of these openers that people hate, that is rebuilding. once they're in the field. Oh. Get it to where I can get the vice grips on there. At least have it turned. There we go. Yeah, that's one way. Let's see if we can get them out this. There it is. All right. Okay. Now, I suppose this is some different design, different size than what it's supposed to be. Kind of looks that way. I'm not sure what size that is. Kind of looks like 1/2 inch. Sure enough, it is. So, it's the only size I don't have over here. I love it when people put stuff back together incorrectly. Now, I think this one is an 11. No. thing. So many of these have different sizes. I already tore one apart. Kind of see how it would go. There is the depth adjustment. Now, there is one of the nuts that holds that assembly on. First, what we gotta do, again, try not to cut myself. We gotta get that center out. Let's move the tools out of here. What I'm finding, as long as you can turn it like that, slowly work it out. Get all that crud that's in there. There it is. So that's what your gauge wheel mounts to, and then your depth adjustment is over on this side. go. Alright, so there is one complete shank assembly, fully stripped down. Now that one came apart a little easier, but for the most part, it put up a little bit of a fight, but for the most part we got it handled. So I only got to do 30 more of these. What did I get myself into? 30 more of these. That's not going to be fun. So I'll save you the boredom of watching this repetitive motion done 30 more times. When I start putting these units together, I will video that as well. That shouldn't be too bad, being that it's all new parts with the exception of the shank. And yeah, catch you guys on the next one. Okay, so working my way through the lineup here of all of these fertilizer openers. We came across one that has given us fits. And if you remember, I said we'd have a few tricks up our sleeves. Well, here, it took an old, I guess it was some kind of water container that I had, and cut the top off of it, or rather cut the side off of it, filling it with water. And I know what you're thinking, well, water makes things rust. Well, that's true. But we're going to add this white vinegar concentrate. It's cleaning vinegar. You can get this at Home Depot, places like that. And the instructions on the back say to add 60 parts water to 1 part vinegar. Now that would mean 60 gallons to one of those gallons. Right now I've got 10 gallons in here. I'm going to go ahead and add 1 gallon of cleaning vinegar. To it. If we can get it in there, that is. Ah, nice. And I'm gonna go get a couple more buckets of water, get this, at least that bottom part, completely submerged. And oh man, it's potent. It smells like the fry stand at the fair, honestly. But I'm gonna go get a couple more buckets, so that would get us 20 gallons in total. And that way we got a 20-to-1 solution. We'll see how well this works. It's the first time I've ever used vinegar as a penetrant, but supposedly it'll eat the rust right off. So we shall see. Okay guys, so another week has gone by. Kind of give you a little bit of an update here. I confess I took some of the row units off of excuse me. I took some row units off of the cultivator. I didn't get those on the video, but again, I was trying to move this, get this moved up here, and that's all the loader wanted to do, to lift the cultivator with 6 of the row units remaining on it. So it wasn't that exciting anyway. If you want to watch somebody have fun with an impact wrench, watch a NASCAR race. That's about all I can tell you. Anyway, this is where we're at. I've made some good progress getting the fertilizer row units torn apart, as you can see, all up and down the bar here. I've got close to 10 of them torn apart, and I've, as expected, been running into some problems. And as I alluded to in our earlier clips, I'd have some tricks up my sleeve. Now, here is where we stand. This one is all seized up, and I'm sure that those of you out there with these planters and fertilizer openers, I'm sure you've run into this before. I think I've got a solution, and I think I've got a bigger solution to the overall problem and how we can make these openers better than when John Deere made them. So I know that's a fascinating concept, that you can make something better than John Deere, but I really think I've got a solution. So let's see what that solution is. This happens to be the one that we tried the vinegar bath on. It was good at removing the surface rust, but the depth arm here is still seized tight. So what I've been doing on these is quite simple. First, I cut it right here off with the cutoff wheel, and then I get a part that looks like this. And this part we're going to do some further fabricating on, I guess you could say. And what I'm going to do is slice it right about here. And I'm going to replace this part of the triangle with a square 2-inch by 2-inch piece that is also an inch thick. And I'm going to drill a hole in it. So when I'm done, I just dropped my face shield. When I'm done, it'll look like the opposite side where the depth adjustment is. So then I'll have a pin in the hole for the axle or rod or whatever you want to call it that goes through the whole assembly. Because this is what actually gets seized up. There's a lot of thought that's going into this, believe it or not, and the thought is, once I get my depth adjusted, it's pretty much going to stay there. So if these pins ever seize, it is what it is. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. People have suggested putting never seize on them. People have suggested tearing these apart season after season. How many of us are actually going to do that? Never seize, probably, but tearing it apart every year, 32 rows, I highly doubt it. So what I'm thinking, these, I've yet to come across one that is seized on there. And if it is, a little penetrating oil and a few taps with the hammer get it loosened right up, and those slide right off. If I can apply that same thought process to the other side, why not? Because in order to change these discs, these blades, you have to remove this this depth arm, or whatever you want to call it, that the gauge wheel mounts to. So if I can have a simple bolt that I slide out and then pull the thing off, and change my blade, reassemble, that's a heck of a lot easier and a lot less work, a lot less cussing than this. And we are all about making things easier. So that's one solution. Second thing we're going to do to improve these openers, we're going to look at these hubs. These hubs have 2 tapered cone bearings in them. Not sure if you can see in there or not, but that is what's inside these two bearings. I'm gonna put a greaser right in here, right between those two bearings, so that these can be greasable. Again, so that we don't have to tear this thing back apart, we can just grease it on the go. I can't take credit for that mod. That's something I saw over on New Ag Talk. It's a pretty common mod to these. But that thing, that's mine. Yeah. John Deere, if you're watching, I expect a royalty check on that if you ever use it. There's a funny joke. Anyway, I'm sure there's a reason they didn't do it that way, but I'm gonna try it that way. So, enough talking. Let's actually start tearing this thing apart. Get my face shield ready to go. Anytime you use these cutoff wheels, always wear a face shield. When I worked for a construction company, I was in their supply chain department, but anyway, I had an internship with a construction company, and they'd always send out these little safety bulletins in their monthly magazine that they would distribute. I think I've already described it enough. You can probably guess which company I'm talking about. It was a good company to work for. Anyway, they had a safety bulletin where someone was not wearing a face shield when operating one of these, and this disc grenaded and came up and hit this individual in the face and actually embedded in this poor guy's face. Don't mess around with your safety. These things are spinning close to 10,000 RPM. Don't be stupid. That's all I got to say. All right, time to be stupid. Not really. Let's cut this off. As you get in there, you might need to break it like that. Depending on how the last owner had the depth set. And there you go. So now you got that piece removed, and then you just got to go ahead and slice that off, and like I said, weld a new piece on there. You'll see that in the next video when I go ahead and start reassembling these. Right now it's just in the idea stage. I haven't actually done this, but there's really no way I've been able to remove these once they are fully seized up like that. So I figure instead of buying close to 32 new versions of these, which are, I want to say 50 bucks, 60 bucks from John Deere, we're not doing that. We're going to try to use metal out of the scrap bin and do this on the cheap. We'll see if it's the smart thing to do or not. I don't know. I know this. You might see me make some U-bolts here in the near future. I priced out some U-bolts last night for these, which are 7x7, and then for the smaller gap versions, which are for 3x3s, 3x3 toolbars. The 3x3 U-bolts are $20 a piece, and these are $30. No way am I spending $800 on U-bolts. I think I can buy a bender and the bar stock cheaper. Now it's going to be a heck of a lot of threading, heck of a lot of bending, and this project's quickly turning into a big rabbit hole real fast. But no, not doing that. It's way too expensive. We're going to try saving ourselves some money. So anyway, that's how I've been removing these, and then from there on out, it's pretty much like what we've been doing, where we just fire this bolt out with the impact. Those have been coming out pretty easy, yeah, it's just tedious work after that. But